Today we have a very special episode as we are celebrating the 1 year anniversary of the Late Night Gamer podcast. We're going to look back at funny memories, give out awards, and do a quick fire Q&A session. Let's celebrate on the Late Night Gamer podcast. Okay, apologies, there's a bit of a delay for the music there. I'm still working this out, but welcome everyone to the Late Night Gamer podcast. As you can see, we are in video format for the first ever time on the podcast. A little surprise for everyone who we haven't told anyone actually, I don't think, in terms of any of our listeners. It's just the three of us who have known this, and Jack, because he'll be joining us at some point next week, I think. So yeah, hello everyone, and welcome to the 48th episode of the Late Night Gamer podcast. I am your host, Welchy. I'm all over the place with my notes now. And joining me tonight are the Mr. Pop Figures himself, Andy.
So I hope you remember your name anyway without having to look at notes. But yeah, hello guys. Yeah, interesting. Back on video format, and yeah, happy to be doing this going forward. So it's exciting, and it would have been nice if it was the 50th episode because that would have matched up nicely. 1 year, the big 50 episode.
I was going to say
48, two away.
It should be 52 weeks in a year. The reason we're not at 52 is because of there was illnesses, like some of us were ill certain weeks, holidays, and technically the 1 year anniversary was actually 2 weeks ago as well, on the 11th of June.
Yeah,
with the Switch 2, we just delayed it, but don't want to wait any longer. Also joining us is our resident horror expert, Stephen.
Hello, guys. Happy anniversary to the LNG faithful. I'm really excited. I love anything that kind of celebrates looking back at stuff. And yeah, it's a big milestone. And yeah, we've been great if it was number 50. But still, even if it's 2 weeks late, you are not going to be disappointed by what we have in store. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a fun one. Obviously, we had come up with the idea of making our first video one a special one, a celebratory one. We've all got to remember not to pick our nose because normally we're doing this in the comfort of not having to worry about it.
You lovely people having to see our faces, not just for tonight, but moving forward. I mean, it's a real treat for everyone.
I mean, on Spotify, you can turn it off if you want and go audio only. But if you're on YouTube, you're stuck with our faces unless you're just putting on the background and walking away.
It's a good job there's such lovely faces.
Yeah. 1 year, guys. I mean, I started 11th of June last year. Well, that's the first time I uploaded. And originally the plan was I just wanted to talk about games somewhere. I joined multiple websites where you kind of like forum rooms, but they were a bit dead now. Forums are dead these days. Reddit, I don't find I contribute much on Reddit. I prefer just reading on there. And I wanted somewhere where I can talk about games. And I thought I loved doing a podcast before. I had one previously, which I don't do anymore, obviously. But it's also hard to get people to want to do it every week like you. And so I started on my own. They were like 30-minute episodes. And then always had the plan of getting guests on. I think Andy, you was my first ever guest, I think. Maybe Call of Duty related content.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. Because I remember doing like our top Call of Duty games and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll take the award for first guest then. Thank you very much.
And then,
spoil it for later.
I actually think Jack might have been second guest. We did a Gears of War E-Day hopes and dreams kind of episode. And then Stephen joined us. Stephen, you joined us actually kind of, Andy had started becoming a regular at that point.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he was basically a regular then, Andy. And then
yeah,
Stephen, you joined us. I believe the one you joined us on was our most anticipated games for 2025 episode.
Yeah, I think it was around sort of that time. And yeah, obviously me and a friend sort of outside the podcast. Obviously now me and Welchy are friends, which has built up a nice friendship since the podcast. And I just love talking about video games. I did have a podcast myself, but it was very different. It was mainly by myself.
Yeah.
I had a couple of guests in a couple of episodes, but I love the whole just talking about video games is just easy. And yeah, it's become sort of a thing. Sort of, it kind of feels just synonymous at this point. I can't ever remember a time when I wasn't doing it, and I can't remember really a time of when I won't be doing it. I think the only episode I've missed has been being poorly. And yeah, so I think I would say first and foremost, thank you very much for having me, not just for one, but as a regular as well. And I think over time they've just got bigger and better, and some great conversations, great quizzes, and yeah, I think it works incredibly well.
It is funny how you started with episodes of 30 minutes long, and now you struggle to keep them down
Ah,
to a length that you sort of want them at respectful length. But yeah, that is quite funny. Now you got too much
that's
to talk about.
well, I've got a bit later on where I go into like the plans for the podcast and like what we've learned. Spoiler, one of the
Yeah,
things we've learned is trying to
Yeah,
manage the timings, which has been very difficult
yeah,
for good reasons because we're obviously passionate and get talking and it goes on and on and on. Um, but then like we kind of like those episodes where we do like the looking back at the decades of gaming. We started off in 10 years and we
yeah.
was like, no, we're gonna have to do these in 5 year chunks because otherwise we're here forever. Um, but yeah, it's been crazy. And if you go and listen back to the original ones, especially the ones where I was on my own, they're okay, but they're nowhere near the quality I think, maybe being biased now, but that we're at now. Um,
yeah.
audio
Yeah,
quality wise, but also just the way we talk and the way we converse with each other. And obviously now we're going video, which is the next big step.
Mm.
yeah, definitely. It would. I haven't actually gone back and listened to one of the old episodes, but I was sort of thinking in my head before, like the difference between then and now, like it's pretty changed loads with, like you said, the quality of the actual videos themselves, with the audio, the timings, letting the conversation flow, and yeah, just getting used to sort of working with each other and stuff on the
Yeah.
podcast. So yeah, I'll probably go back and listen to one of those at some point just to see how much it has changed.
If there's definitely an award for somebody that wants to speak the most in this podcast, I probably will throw it myself and give myself that title, because if there's been problems at times of us getting too far with lengths, it's normally been on me because I just won't shut up, particularly if it's really something I'm really passionate about. So I've took steps to try and alleviate that. But I think generally, the more you do it, the easier you get, and we're all our timings have got much better just through generally doing this week in, week out. And I think now we kind of just do it without, I think the other thing is, well, we plan a lot during the week. So like
Mm.
I'm constantly making notes on games that I'm playing, similar to like what we do on the movie side as well. So I think we're better prepared. So we kind of have an idea about what we're going to be saying going into the conversation. And for anyone out there, planning is key. You've got to have a right plan. You can't just turn it on and think, oh, today I'm going to do a podcast, because people will see straight through that. You need to have some kind of idea about what you're going to do. And that's been great to see over the course of the year.
Yeah, I
I think there's more
mean,
planning on your side, Welchy. I
uh,
haven't wrote anything down for today's episode, so
today's different.
To
Today's
be fair,
different.
I've
yeah,
not
yeah,
wrote anything either, apart from what I've been playing.
No, it does take up more time than I guess people think. It's not a full time job. Obviously, we're nowhere near that level. But I am on my trains to work, planning things. Like we've got a massive schedule on Discord of what we're doing, what week, and I'm changing that
Yeah.
all the time because things get announced and whatnot. And I've been tweaking the intros, tweaking the housekeeping parts, just trying to improve it, and make things more shorter, but like short and sweet, and like gets to the point quicker. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
and just general improvements to the audio and now video we're gonna have to do. But it's something I love doing, so it's never ever an issue. I thought we'd start. Obviously, we're 8 minutes in, but I thought we'd start with kind of funny or favorite episodes or moments or things. I was originally going to do some audio added to this, but because it's our first video one, I'm just not quite ready to do that yet. I think I'll be ready to like introduce videos onto the video in a sense next week, 1 or 2 weeks time maybe. But for now, let's just chat about it. So I guess the quizzes are obviously episodes that we enjoyed probably doing the most.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I enjoy everything we do, but as the quiz master, I really enjoy setting them up, thinking of questions that, like yesterday we did the movie quiz, and I had a question there or soundtrack which I knew Andy would get, and I knew Stephen wouldn't. It was the Pokemon one. So I was like,
yeah,
I'm going to have to throw one in here for Stephen. And I was like, Britain's Got Talent must do it. So, like, it's that kind of thing. And then the best part for me is sitting there knowing the answer and seeing you two struggle with it, especially on the soundtracks, because I can tell you know it,
yeah.
but you've got to get
That's
back
the
into
most
that brain
annoying
and
part.
figure out where it's come from.
It's the whole
It's
cliche. Go on, Andy.
no, yeah. I just don't think. I think that people listening to the podcast won't realize, or like with quizzes in general, anyway. Like when you're actually in that moment, it's a lot harder to get your brain working to think like, what is that? I know that answer. I know the answer to this question, but just
Yeah.
you get that brain like fog. You just can't think of it. Whereas like if you weren't on the quiz and I heard that question on the radio, like I'd be like straight away, oh, I know that. It's like it's Viking, it's like whatever. But yeah, when you're in that moment, it's like and then you just forget and end up saying something stupid. But yeah, it is funny, and it's funny seeing obviously people don't see it at the moment, but seeing you now they will be able to going forward, seeing your reaction off the stream. But yeah, obviously with us seeing you, the way you react to some of our answers or like what we're thinking about saying, you're like in stitches, and it is quite funny seeing those moments. So yeah, hopefully going forward people will get to see those moments as well.
Your answers are definitely funnier than mine, Andy. I will say if those reactions happen, it still be from something that even I like. I know that I don't know the answer, so to speak, but I'm like, it's just not that, and I have to try and contain my own laughter. I think it's that whole cliche, isn't it? Of it's only easy if you know the answer, when you put under that sort of pressure. And he's absolutely right. You get sort of that brain fog moment. For me, I'm kind of like, if I've had some answers where it's like bang straight away, like it's just there. And there's only been a couple that have tripped me. I mean, last night was a prime example. There was a question that I really should have got, and you just can't believe it's when someone says the answer. I'm like, oh, fuck's sake, really?
It's the way it's worded as well. Like the question, the way they're worded. Obviously, the way you worded it, Welchy, with those ones were sort of trying to catch you out a bit in terms of like it's so simple, like the way you describe it, but then you're like overthinking it a bit. And then obviously, like Stephen said, when you say the answer, it's like, how the fuck did I not see that? Look at
that. So one of the ones that comes to my mind instantly is, I think probably the first soundtrack episode we ever did.
It's not gonna be the Mario one, is it?
It's the Mario one. It's the gaming. The gaming one.
Yeah.
Obviously, hopefully people have listened. If you haven't, I recommend listening to all of our quiz ones, obviously, because they're great. But this one in particular is, I'm playing soundtracks from mostly famous games. I can't remember all 5 that I did that one, but I did the original Super Mario Brothers game, one of the most iconic soundtracks ever. And Andy puts his hand up and goes, Pac-Man, and I just lost it at the time. I was like, how have we got to Pac-Man here? I get in kind of time zone, you're roughly in the right park, but I just thought everyone knew Mario.
I saved that by I got the answer right. But I'll be honest, it didn't like immediately come to my head. I was sort of like 70-30, but when Andy said Pac-Man, I was like, it's just not. It's like one of those examples, like it's just not Pac-Man in any shape or form. But again, you are in the right ballpark, so I can kind of see it, even though it's probably the worst attempt answer that we've had on the podcast. No offense, Andy.
Definitely on the gaming side. We've had some shockers on the movie one as well.
Yeah, we have had some shockers.
Yeah,
but I think it's the worst on the gaming side.
Yeah. It's just those sort of moments where I feel like, especially for me, like some of the gaming sounds like just all merge into one, and like I'll hear it and think, oh, I know that, and then I'll be so confident in my answer because it's like, yeah, and then I'm like, it's completely wrong. I'm like, but obviously when you say the answer again, it's like, oh, of course, yeah. But yeah, being on that spot, try and get the quick answer off as well, especially when we're racing against each other. I'm trying to think what it is before Stephen does. But yeah, obviously it leads to some great entertainment for you guys.
There's an added spice because me and Andy are incredibly competitive, and we have that like friendly sort of rivalry in it. I actually remember, I think it might have been the same episode, which makes it a really good episode, where the first soundtrack was Uncharted, but I immediately said Crash Bandicoot, and it was like the second octave line of the song, and I remember going, oh my god, that I've gone way too quickly, and I thought, please Andy, get this wrong, but he didn't. So it's moments like that, and I think when I said Crash, you were like, no Steve, what have you done, what have you done? Like you might have not said that, but I could see like, oh, I fucked up massively here.
Yeah, I didn't realize how similar it was to Crash Bandicoot, that one actually. So
I
then went back and listened to it, and I was like, oh shit, it is basically the same. If you answer too soon, you're gonna think it is. Other moments that I can think of in terms, maybe not as funny moments, but in terms of good episodes we've had. Well, our most popular episode is I always forget the name of this game. It's because I hate it. Lost Records.
Lost Records.
Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. So for some strange reason, we decided to do 2 episodes on that game. obviously one for part one and one for the full game. And both of them are in our top three most listened to, I think.
Yeah.
Which is insane to
People
me
obviously,
because I would never choose to listen to anything about
yeah,
that game. But it was obviously, I don't know, for some reason people want to hear our opinion on that game. And I remember listening back to the second one where we're just slating it, and I'm thinking, if I'm the poor developer who is going around looking for reviews and hearing us just absolutely slate on this game, they would never listen to us again. But
they might get some sort of feedback from our criticism of it to be able to improve it going forward. But yeah, obviously it wasn't the best game for us to play,
I've
so it
still
is.
got that to look forward to next year.
I,
That's gonna be a fun one.
Stephen, I genuinely wouldn't even bother. I don't know why you're going to bother because it's just not worth it. I mean, you
The,
might
the,
find something good from it, but I didn't.
yeah, it did have a lot of potential, and
Mm.
potentially that sort of game does reach a sort of more niche sort of target audience, I guess. So potentially there would have been a lot more people sort of searching for that game, wanting to know more about it. Potentially why we got more views on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would have been better if it was actually a game that we sort of loved playing and was more positive on it. But yeah, if anyone listened to that review and still bought the game afterwards, then
I just
fair
genuinely
enough.
doubt it. I
Maybe after the first one, because I was a bit more
You
positive
was
on the
positive on the
first one,
first
but
one.
the second one, obviously, waiting to see what happened, how it ended and stuff, and it just felt like a long cut scene, and then yeah, a really
And
crappy ending. But
Welchy started negative and just got even more negative in part two.
yeah,
So yeah.
I still
I think
can't believe.
your rating went down, didn't it? After the
Yeah,
first
part two was shocking to me, absolutely shocking.
part two was shocking.
Not to spoil things later, but we're doing an award ceremony, and I think it's going to come up. I think it's going to come up in the award
Yeah.
ceremony.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna come up.
Obviously, we're a podcast, but we're also YouTube. I mean, we did a lot of reaction videos this year, and they did pretty well view-wise as well. And I think my personal favorite reaction to anything we've had is to Invincible.
I think so.
Yeah.
Most
I think
recently,
that's what we
literally
all reacted to
Yeah.
positively. Yeah,
2 weeks ago, which was
Yeah.
amazing. But I want to cast your minds back when we didn't do a reaction video because it was Game Awards, and we did a prediction video. And Andy predicted that Naughty Dog would turn up
oh,
with their next big title.
Oh
And
yeah.
me and Stephen in the episode was like, "There's just no way." And I think I said like I would I don't know, I'd eat my hand or something. And we
that's
wake
what we're
up.
here today.
We wake up, and then Andy just has like the eyes emoji on text and the WhatsApp or whatever you did. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, there must have been a big announcement. And Naughty Dog turned up. I was like, wow.
I
That was
did
a-
think,
I was
has he
happy
like
with that.
gone into the future or got like a crystal ball? Because that is absolutely wild. You know, you were bang on the money with that at a time where I just didn't see it coming. Not only because I think we're talking, like Last of Us 3, like it's not going to happen, but just to have a brand new IP from Naughty Dog, like, whoa, no one saw that coming but Andy.
It seemed too soon as well to me, and I still think it is because I think it's still years away. But you called it and got
Yeah.
it. I think
We should have asked him for these lottery numbers that night. He might have
Well.
actually done well. No.
Yeah, triple ticket.
if last week
Yeah.
or whenever it was a couple of weeks ago, you would have predicted an Invincible game, I'd have been
Oh,
much
man,
more believing that because I was thinking, okay, it makes sense. Like the prediction makes sense because it's big right now, and there's got to be someone working on it.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I get what you
genuinely
mean.
would have believed that more than the Naughty Dog one. I was absolutely against that idea. So you really pulled that one out of the bag.
Yeah.
We also have Twitch, and I think the best moments I've had on Twitch since the podcast has started is Split Fiction. And
Oh, Split Fiction, what a game, man.
the
What a game.
the amount of times I've laughed in that game were incredible. Stephen, I know you're still yet to play it, and I can't wait for you to play
Yeah.
it because
Yeah.
I genuinely think you're gonna have you'll have to play with a friend because it's co-op only.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have the exact same moments we did. It's so funny, so fun the whole way through. It's funny in terms of like the actual writing and the script, and funny in parts. Like I'm
Yeah.
thinking of the Monkey King Andy. It's probably
Yeah,
one
the
of the funnier
dancing one,
moments.
yeah.
Yeah, but then you have
It's-
your funny moments as like a
You
couple of
messed it up
people
and
who are
stuff.
messing up. Yeah,
Yeah.
It sounds like a love letter to just if you enjoy video games, you're going to have a great time. And
It
I
really
think it's going to be more so for like a winter game for me or friend, just so we'll have more time to do it because summer's just a bit mental at the moment. But yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about it, and it will be done before we get onto our Game of the Year.
that's what
podcast.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Try and do it for that because it might
Yeah, it
influence
will
your
be.
ranking.
It will be done before then, that's for sure.
I guess that's a good thing to say as well. We had a Game of the Year podcast at the beginning of the year, which was really good fun. I think that's probably one of our longest episodes, actually.
Yeah, it
And
was.
we will obviously do that again, I say at the end of the year, at the beginning of next year, to look back at the games from this year. And at the moment, it's looking good. I think, I don't know if you how many games you two have played from this year, but I'm up to 7 at the moment. And
I think
it's going to
I've
quickly
got
increase.
like 5 or 6 on my list. Not all positive though.
Well, yeah, we've got lost
So,
records, I know.
I'm trying to
yeah,
think.
obviously there's
Rematch
a few
obviously
other games
counts.
I've played. Yeah,
Yeah.
Rematch, Split Fiction.
Yes.
Obviously we'll have the new COD game later this year
Gears.
as well. Gears of War, yeah, Gears of War Reloaded.
Stephen, you played Atom 4 as well
Something
with
else
me.
as well.
Yes, I was trying to remember what ones I've got. Obviously, we've got Mafia and Gears of War coming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
COD,
Mafia coming. Yeah.
EFC. We'll have Ghost of Yote by that
Yes.
point
Yote.
as
I can't
well.
believe we didn't mention that one first.
I'm
Directive
just trying
8020.
to think. I mean, Forza Horizon 5 as well. Because if we're counting Gears of War Reloaded, technically
But
that
Gears of War,
Gears of War
yeah,
Reloaded is
I don't
new
know.
for both it's a new game for Xbox as well, technically.
true.
Whereas Forza, I don't mind where that falls. I mean, it's not going to fall high collectively because it's just you.
No.
So
Yeah, true.
it's up to you if you want to add that, but we can get to that nearer the time.
Yeah. So I think for the first sort of few months, I've been playing both Horizon 1 and 2 and a lovely game called Funko Fusion, which I'm sure will be mentioned later down the line in the podcast. But like both Horizon 1 and 2 were like 30 plus hours. So now that I've done both of them,
Both
which
of
we'll
them
get
this year.
onto
You've
at
done
some
both
point.
this year.
Yeah, so I
Zero
did
Dawn feels like a
Horizon
long
1.
time ago, but I guess we're halfway through the year, so.
I think I started in like mid-January and I got Horizon 1 done by March.
Okay.
And then Horizon 2, I started late March. So March, April, May, June. Two's taken me a bit longer than 1. But both of them, I checked the game hours and they're about 28 hours each. So that's already like coming up to 60 hours. And that's before you mention any of the online stuff
Yeah.
that I've done. So now that I've got through that, I can now start to get down my list of single player games and get more 2025 games in. So that's going to be more of a priority for the second half of the year.
I've been the exact opposite this year. Normally I like to have like one new game, and then when I finish a new game, I like to go back to one old game to revisit one. I just haven't had the time this year. I think Game Pass has been so bloody good for me
Yeah.
Yeah,
that I've
that's
not
what I
even
was
been able
gonna
to finish
say.
them all. Avowed hasn't been finished, and like there's other games I can't remember what ones I've played that I've not finished. I haven't even had a
And that was
touch
one of the games
Oblivion
you
yet.
preferred. Yeah, Avowed was one of the games you preferred the most and sort of was enjoyed playing it. But yeah, with Games Pass, you're getting all these games day one, which is
Game changer,
obviously
Game
good.
Pass. Yeah.
Yeah, it does allow you to put in more games. Obviously, with me and
Yeah.
Stephen had to go out and sort of buy them.
Yeah.
And obviously with games,
Well, like
they can be quite expensive. But
Doom: The Dark Ages, I wouldn't have bought and I wouldn't have played it, but
no, yeah,
now I've beaten
Yeah.
it, and it's going to be in the conversation for my top 10. I can clearly
Yeah.
say it's not going to be my number 1, but
yeah.
it will be up there. And yeah, I mean, should we move on to our awards ceremony, or any other moments you want to talk about? I mean, there's other things that are more movie related, and I think we'll try and do a movie celebration one later down
Yeah,
in the year.
yeah.
That started
think-
like in November.
I
Yeah,
do
that's
think the other one that when we like harping back to the quiz is I'm still annoyed about the horse question. That still grates on me.
Oh,
I've
That was a great
still
question.
I've still found that so annoying because, and especially as I was playing Horizon at the time as well, like the more I play that, the more I'm like, that website is like bogus, man. Like I'm getting like tense about it because I just don't see how you can say that that's a horse. It's a robot. Like it's just a farce. And my argument to that is that the reason why I didn't say that is because I played Horizon. Now I know you said that you haven't played it, so you didn't know, but that influenced my decision as
Yeah.
to why I wouldn't have gone with that. I probably would have got onto it like later, but even I was sitting there thinking, well, it can't be Horizon because Horizon's got no bloody horses in it. So I mean, I'm over it now, guys.
Clearly.
He's not sorry
But
about that question
it's
at
probably
all.
like the only question we've had where I was like, I am actually angry at the fact that I feel like I've been shafted for that. But that's not on the lovely Quizmaster. That's on that stupid website that those two decided to do. I think you said, didn't you, that a lot of people in the comments were a little bit like, why is Horizon there? It was a very controversial one to put in that list.
Yeah, and I had another list originally, for the same kind of list, so that games you could ride a horse on.
Yeah.
And number 9, so the second one I would have said to you was
it was that Barbie game.
Barbie's Pony Princess, whatever it was called. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's quite obvious where this is going.
It's a bit of a giveaway, that.
Yeah.
I mean, if we didn't get that
Yeah.
from that, we should get minus points for not picking that observation up. But no, I say it's always a bit of fun, but it's just little things like that. I'm just like, sorry.
But I do think Horizon was also on that list. So it wasn't like a one list thing. It was also on that one.
No, that is true.
Yeah.
And
I think
in fair,
they just need to reword it to say like
Mount.
a mount instead of a horse. Yeah.
Yeah, if it was meant to be different. But what I will say, fair play for Andy for actually getting that, because there was still like 5 games left, or I think it might have been 4 actually.
Yeah.
So it was a good answer. I would have been more happy if he hadn't got it than I'd cared.
Cool. So we're not going to do a topic of the week this week, but either way, I still want to do a bit of housekeeping before we get into our awards ceremony. Of course, this is the Late Night Gamer podcast. We drop new episodes every week, typically on a Wednesday. If you enjoy the podcast, please do consider following or subscribing on your favorite podcast service, and also leave a rating, as that really helps us support the podcast a lot. You can follow us on all major socials with the handle @TheLNGPod, and you can join our Discord using the link in the podcast description. If you want to chat anything movies, TV shows, and video games, that's something we haven't mentioned. We obviously also launched a new podcast while doing this podcast, but as I said, we'll do a celebratory one for that another time. If you're listening on Spotify, you can also leave comments there for us to read out. And we now have polls on Spotify too that you can interact with and give your opinions on certain topics. Finally, our content schedule for the week beginning 23rd of June looks like this. On Monday, you had our quiz show that we've just been talking about, but on the Late Night Movie podcast. And it was a TV special episode. So instead of movies, it was all questions on TV shows. Definitely one to watch or listen to. You can't watch that one, actually. I'll be able to say watch from next week onwards.
Yeah.
Tuesday, there was no content. Wednesday, you're getting this one, the 1-year anniversary episode of the Late Night Gamer podcast. Thursday, no content. And Friday, Andy and Stephen are starting their 24-hour marathon stream for cancer research. I'll let you two guys do a little bit of talk about what you got planned and where people can go to watch. Do you want to start, Stephen?
Yeah, I'll shoot. So yeah, it's fast approaching, guys. So I'm doing my bit on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/DJBagpers. And I've got my schedule basically finalized. I'll be announcing that in the next few days. There'll be a very special announcement coming out on Thursday. That will be from Andy's side. And we've got lots of stuff planned. Funko Pop's going to be a big part of my stream as well. I've got also something very special being teased tomorrow, and it's something that I don't want to do, but I'm doing it for a good cause, so just stay tuned for that. And as I said, we're doing it for a great cause. And I also want to say, because I don't feel I've said it before, just thank you to everyone who has already contributed. We're getting lots of great donations from people, and people being really generous, and we really appreciate that. And I'm really excited now. Like, I'm super excited to do the 24-hour gaming stream, raise a lot of money, and have lots of fun. So hopefully we'll see everyone there. It starts from midday on Friday, and I'll be doing mine on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, just obviously echoing Stephen's sort of words there. You can find me over on Twitch, so I'll be streaming on my Twitch account, Andy_Y_07. Like Stephen said, we're starting on the 27th from midday, running all the way through midday to the 28th. And yeah, other than playing sort of the standard multiplayer games like Fortnite, Call of Duty, Rematch, I think will be a big one there, and sort of Fall Guys, any other sort of small multiplayer games that we'll be able to fit in. And just still finalizing the schedule. I'm not sure. I still haven't decided fully yet which game I want to start with. There's a lot of great choices for me to choose from, and I just don't know which direction I'm going to go yet. But yeah, hopefully keep that a surprise for you guys until you actually see me play it. But yeah, should have a cool announcement coming on Thursday regarding a giveaway. And yeah, once we get that finalized as well, we'll make the announcement for that over on our social medias and stuff. And yeah, just thank you to everyone who has donated so far and shared the our posts and stuff. It's really appreciated. And yeah, it's all for a good cause. We initially set our target at 250. We're on 277 at the moment. So we've changed our target to 500 just to try and push ourselves a bit further. So yeah, thank you to everyone so far.
Yeah, I'll be there to join at some point in the stream to play rematch, hopefully. My current addiction. Um, and yeah, looking forward to it, guys. I'm going to try and go in between your streams. I don't want to go to one person's more than the others. I'm working from home Friday, and you're starting at 12, right?
Yeah.
So plan is to watch as and when I can. It happens to be a very busy week, but try and watch throughout the day as well, and then join you in the evening and support you in my dreams when I'm sleeping and you two can't.
Yeah.
I think I'm happy to give a little bit of a tease on what I'm starting with. I am starting with Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Zombies.
Okay.
I'm my highest round on one of the maps is 31.
That's not a tease, is it? You just basically announced
Well,
what you are playing.
yeah, but I'm only doing the first bit. You'll have to
Okay.
wait to see what the rest of it is. But my highest round on that is 31. I want to try and excel past that. And the only other thing I would say is a lot of the games I'll be doing will be throwbacks. So a lot of games that everyone knows and indeed loves. That's what I'm going to say. There'll be more details announced in the coming days.
I hope you've both planned a nice energetic game for those like 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. periods, which keep you awake. Because
Well, the other thing to know, I will be doing a surprise horror game in the early hours of the morning,
okay.
which is a very exciting one. It isn't one that I think people are going to think about, obviously, or think obviously about, but it's regarded as one of the best horror games that are out there. And it's a remaster. Just,
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
leave that to everyone.
My games may change depending on sort of who's in the stream and stuff, if people want to see particular things. At the moment, for one of the early morning time slots, I've got down Balatro, so I might be playing some of that. But yeah, not confirmed
You'll
or
end up
anything.
doing
We'll
it for the whole
see.
24 hours, Andy.
Yeah, probably. If I start with it, I will do.
I think it's also worth noting to everyone watching that on Friday, it will be probably the first time that all three of us are playing a game together, which feels quite fitting to do that
Yep.
on the 1 year anniversary. I think also something that like I wish I was able to join like more streams, but normally when like Welchy streaming, I'm normally like needed in my own sort of, that's my time to like game. So it's like sort of juggling. So I'm really excited to be doing a game that all three of us have played, because like me and Andy have played lots of games together, but like me and Welch have not actually done an online game yet. So can't wait for him to see my amazing rematch skills.
Well, she did message me saying like,
I'm being sarcastic.
I'm so happy Stephen doesn't play with us because I've heard bad things about his skill levels and stuff.
You know
so.
that's
Only from you winding me up.
No, it'll be fun. It'll be funny to see it, especially rematch.
So everyone go and check out the streams on Friday, and yeah, as Stephen said, we'll all be there at one point, but obviously Andy and Steve will be there for the whole 24 hours. So go and support them, and donate if you can. On the Saturday, Andy and Stephen will be sleeping. I'll be streaming on the Late Night Gamer podcast channel, and it will most likely be rematch. I'm kind of at this point where I need to play Claire Obscure Expedition. I need to play Avowed, but I just want to play rematch.
You'll love a rematch.
So we'll see.
It's dangerous.
We'll see. But I'll be streaming Saturday night, and then Sunday there will be no content as we record on a Sunday night for the next batch of podcasts the week after. Okay, so awards ceremony time. The Late Night Gamer podcast, kind of alternative awards, I should say, because it's obviously we do a big game of the year and big movie of the year podcast at the end of the year, which is the big event. But this is more since the podcast has started, or I guess since you two started on the podcast. So Stephen joined a bit later, so you've got a little bit less time. But basically, things we've been discussing on the podcast are kind of like in scope for awards. There's only 5 awards. We're only doing something a little bit short because then we're going to go into the longer Q&A bit after this. But I thought it'd be fun to just do some awards, and it's only 5 unless you two think of any off the top of your head while we're doing this. I'm happy to do a few more, but I thought we'd start with the worst game that we have played during the podcast. I think we all know where mine's going, so I might as well start. It might even be Andy's as well, to be honest. but it's Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, which is a pile
Really?
of shit. I
Staggering.
don't need to go into too much detail. Obviously, go back and listen to our episodes about that game if you want to hear full thoughts. But it was one of those ones where I wasn't super excited for it, but I was also like expecting relatively good things. And after the first part, I was like, well, nothing happened. This is absolutely boring. But still silently hoping that part two would change it, but expecting it to not. And I was right, it didn't. It was even worse, although shorter, which was the good part because it meant I was less time on it. But I just thought it
Nice.
was pretty terrible beginning to end. I genuinely can't think of anything very nice to say about it right now. Maybe I did say something positive on the podcast, but right now I just think of it as a waste of time, which is a horrible thing to say, but that's how I feel.
I think the only thing you said is it looked quite nice.
But
That's
And the
even
music,
even in part two, I
I would
didn't
have
think it
mentioned
looked as
music.
good. So
oh
like,
dear.
a
Yeah.
lot of the audio wasn't syncing properly with the visuals.
Oh, with the lip. Yeah.
It just wasn't. It didn't present that well.
Didn't even have
It'd be-
winning personality. Wow.
It'd be
it was
funny
just
if
not good.
the developers listened to our Lost Records review and then they decided to listen to a second episode and they listened to this one. It's like you guys can fuck up. Sorry.
Well, it's Don't
They
Nod,
were-
right? Don't Nod are the developers, and what I will say is
Yeah.
I like Don't Nod games. I
Like,
like
yeah,
Jasant from last
That's
year,
why.
and I'm super
Yeah,
excited
that's
for that space one they're doing.
yeah.
That was shown off at the
There's-
Xbox one, I think.
Yeah, it was.
So
Oh yeah, that looked good.
this
Yeah.
hasn't put me
There
off
was a lot
them.
of
I just think it was
excitement.
one bad game.
Yeah, we would obviously everyone would still say to you, go play Life is Strange.
Mhm.
Once you play the first one of that, you'll then understand why there was so much excitement for Lost Records. But they just went away from their sort of format that they use, and so obviously to us it went completely wrong and wasn't enjoyable. It probably is the worst game I've played this year as well, or like on the podcast. I can't think of any others.
Ooh.
The only benefit is it's free, and we didn't have to pay for it. Whereas, like, obviously, I've got games like Assassin's Creed Shadows, which I've only played a few hours of because I couldn't.
You're putting it in
sort
the
of go
same
back.
category as Lost Records. Wow.
Not quite, just because I haven't completed it. Whereas if I complete it, I might enjoy it a bit more. But obviously, it got to the stage where that felt really repetitive, and there wasn't much else to do. Like I felt I could sort of gain from it.
Was
So
that this
if
year?
I, yeah,
Shit, it was,
Yeah.
wasn't it? It's normally such
Yeah.
an October release, but it was like February, March, maybe.
yeah,
I think it's late
not-
February or maybe early March.
Yeah.
I don't think it was February because that's when I picked up Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, another game that I need to go back to and play.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously with Assassin's Creed, I stopped playing it because I was getting bored of it. Whereas at least with Lost Records, it was. I had hopes for it, so I still completed it and finished it, hoping like if there is another one, they learn from their mistakes and stuff from it. But yeah, it probably is the worst game just because I completed it. But maybe if I went back and completed Assassin's Creed, would I make that the worst game? But is it good enough for me to even go and complete it? Because it's a long game, obviously.
Yeah.
It takes a lot more commitment.
You've
That's
got,
yeah,
probably
it's a
why.
trick
you have to give the award to one game, and you've got one trophy. Who are you giving it to?
You just want me to give it to Lost Records, don't you? I'll give it to Lost Records because I still feel like Assassin's Creed Shadows needs that chance,
Yeah, fair.
another chance for me to sort of go back to it.
There'd be one guy at Nod who'd like listened to part one and then like the boss said, right, if they're as horrible in part two as they are in part one, you're fired. And he's like counting on us to give a positive review. He was marched out of the building with a box of his stuff in his hand in his car and his life's in tatters. Well done, us.
I think we know where your one's going, Stephen.
Yeah, it's all right. No, you all know exactly where this is going. It's only one game, and it is Funko Fusion, which I still have nightmares about on the account of how horrible my fun was after the boss battle of just button mashing for the best part of an hour and a half. I still can't believe I spent 30 hours on that game. So basically, the equivalent on Horizon, each 1 and 2, is the same amount of time that I put into Funko Fusion. And I had like 3/4 of less amount of fun with that game. And I think what's upsetting is because of like being such a big fan of Funko Pops, like Funko Pops video games, put them together, pop culture, lots of movies. Like you can't go wrong with that, but you absolutely can go wrong with it. Yeah, to be fair, there were warning signs early on. I remember playing the Hot Fuzz sequence and loving that it was Hot Fuzz in a video game. It was everything I ever dreamed of. But even during the Hot Fuzz sequence, I was thinking, this isn't great. But I was like, no, don't worry about it, Stephen. This is just you. You're having a bad day. This is an off day. I tried to do everything I could to give that game a benefit of the doubt. And like the more and more I played it, just the worse and worse it got. I don't think I've ever used YouTube for a game so many times than I did for Funko Fusion. Without YouTube, I would have been screwed. And you know, occasionally having a look at something for like a really complex puzzle, or just, you know, oh, it's that door right up there that I wouldn't have been able to see through the naked eye. But when you've got to go like every 5 minutes onto it just to work out what you've got to do, that's a game that seals its fate. So yeah, literally awful.
Yeah, I knew he was going with that. I mean, you've played great games since like Horizon 2, so
Yeah.
It's
Not much
the
to
obvious
choose from.
answer.
Yeah, in comparison.
Again, let's stick with Stephen and let's flip it. What's the best game you've played since joining the podcast? And I think I know where you're going, unless 2 has changed that.
No, it will be Horizon Zero Dawn. I will get on to sort of my full final findings of Horizon 2, either if we get time tonight or in next week's podcast. But Horizon Zero Dawn just had me from the first minute, and it just never sort of let up. It was just a phenomenal story. There's loads of stuff that at some point I will go back and do. There's so much of that story still to explore. But yeah, just a great game. And it just had everything. And I think I gave it a 10 out of 10 at the time, in terms of the review. So it was a masterpiece. I put it in sort of the same levels as Last of Us, Uncharted. It's at that level. It's just so good. Probably also on par with Astrobot. Like in those category of games, it's flawless. I think what's funny about Horizon is that it is probably one of the only games that did make me feel a little bit stupid, because it is such a convoluted plot that sometimes I don't quite know exactly what's going on. But I'm just loving the game anyway, because it does feel, sometimes games that are really convoluted, you kind of get that feeling of, all right, you're trying to be too clever. Horizon is very clever, but I feel like you only have to just like be diverted for a second and then work out what actually is going on. I don't know if you share that same thing, Welchy, that there's a lot to get your head around with that game.
Yeah, it is. And whenever I think about the game or start to think about it, and well, for the best example is when I went to play Forbidden West when it launched, I had to remind myself what kind of the story was. Like when Last of Us 2 come out, I was like, oh, I know what Last of Us 1 was, because it's the most, it's such an easy and good to follow story. And Horizon 1 is like, you get it, but you don't fully get it. And it's like, it's one of those kind of stories. But it's fantastic. I personally think they're just below those kind of games you're talking about, like Last of Us and Uncharted, but still incredible games and would recommend them to anyone. Andy, best game you've played since being on the podcast? I'm struggling to think what this is. Oh, I know what it is.
No, I think I know exactly what he's going to. I think I know what you're both going to say, I believe.
To be fair, it's tricky. I do have an answer in my mind, but obviously since the podcast, I have started playing a lot more single player games and have had the opportunity to play a lot of great games that people would have completed years ago. So obviously, The Last of Us Part 1, Spider-Man more recently, 2 great games that I completed this year. It probably would have been a different game had I completed it. I've only just started it though, so I'm gonna have to go for the first one. So it will be God of War.
So hands up, I was thinking he was going to Split Fiction.
I thought you were going to Split Fiction as well.
In terms, no, I'm going to save Split Fiction because we're doing our Game of the Year awards at the end,
which obviously God of War won't be available for you.
Yeah, so I'll stick with God of War. I have had the chance to play it. I think I completed it this year at the start of the year.
We definitely still did it within the podcast time. So
and what a great game! And if I had completed God of War Ragnarok, I think that would be above it because I've just loved the first 5-6 hours of that straight away, and I think it's just gonna take the first game to a whole new level. But yeah, God of War, everything to do with that type of sort of vibe, the mythology, those characters, the great boss battles, even all the puzzles. They're not over complicated, quite easy to sort of figure out by yourself. the storyline, it's all incredible. It looks amazing. It's one of the best games that I've played ever. And yeah, that has to get my Game of the Year award for this podcast.
That makes me
But
sound
yeah,
really
a
good.
lot of good contenders.
There is
Obviously, I
a
did love. Yeah, go.
no, it's an interest question. So out of God of War, Spider-Man, Last of Us Part 1,
And Ghost
you
of
say God of
Tsushima.
War is, and Ghost of Tsushima actually, you're saying God of War is your favourite out of all 4 of those?
Yes, just because of the setting. Like I like that type of world anyway. Like I'm
Yeah.
always invested in that sort of world. Whereas like The Last of Us, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the game, but I'm more at the edge of my seat. It's a lot harder for me to sort of play it without sort of being like, I want to play it, but I also don't want to play it, sort of thing. If that makes sense, because I'm sort of don't want to
Yeah, I
get
know what
attacked
you
by
mean.
clickers and like zombies, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's obviously more along like the darker sort of horror sort of type game. Whereas
Yeah.
like the God of War, I enjoyed putting it on. Like you're Kratos, who you can basically kill anyone. Like you feel powerful. I don't feel like I'm gonna die when I'm like using him, sort of thing, or like be feared by anything, or fear anything. Sorry. But yeah, so when you step into his shoes and that character, and like when you play it, Steven, you get the Blades of Chaos. Like that is such a good moment in a game where you just feel invincible. So yeah, that's why it gets the nod. I did love Spider-Man as well. It's like these are very sort of top games. It's hard.
Yeah.
There's
So,
only like there's small margins between them.
yeah.
It's crazy.
So
They
it's,
come out
yeah,
in the same year.
that
Sony
is
had one
crazy. That
hell
is
of a
crazy.
year that year. And Red Dead 2 in that year
Yeah.
as well. Whew.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. 2018 was wild as a year. And yeah,
Spider-Man in
I've
any
got
other
God of War
year
to
would go
experience.
very high, but being drowned out by God of War and Red Dead 2 in like the critics whatever
Yeah.
point of view
Yeah.
was crazy. Mine is currently Split Fiction.
Yeah.
Since
Oh,
starting a podcast.
since
No,
starting the podcast,
no.
yeah.
Since starting a podcast, I'm going to give the nod to Astrobot. It was between Astrobot and Split Fiction, though. I thought about this yesterday. Cause I was going into this thinking it's Split Fiction. And then yesterday I was like, actually, I played Astrobot within this period. So I'm going to go Astrobot. I think that was still when I was doing the podcast on my own mostly. I think I did a whole review of that on my own. So,
Yeah.
Stephen, I know you would if it was within your podcast.
If I was about to say, if I had been part of the podcast when Astrobot came out, that would have gone ahead of Horizon Zero Dawn for sure.
Split Fiction is very close. I think I gave them both a 9.5. I love both games very much, but Astrobot was just truly special. And it's a game that they keep adding to, and I keep wanting to play them. I still haven't finished all of them, the new ones, but they're on my list to do.
Please don't.
Beat your time.
You just keep eating my time. It's making me sad.
It's just unbelievably good. But so is Split Fiction. It was really close between them. I will shout out Rematch because it's very early days, but I cannot explain how much I am loving that game.
No,
if it can continue to be as good as it is, and they can continue to improve upon it, Game of the Year this year is going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
I think the main thing for Rematch is going to be keeping the casual side and the competitive side separate, because already by seeing a lot of clips on TikTok, obviously it's quite popular at the moment, the game, there's going to be a lot of skillful players on this game, like with Rocket League, where it gets to a level where if you can't be us, if you're playing it more casually and jumping on, having fun with friends, you might not sort of keep up to that level that people are getting to. And there's constantly at the moment new sort of techniques and sort of mechanics coming into play. They need to make sure they keep casual separate to sort of the competitive side, and make sure they've got the skill-based matchmaking right, if that is in the game, just to be able to keep it fun for the casual players. So hopefully they keep that going well.
So what you're saying is, don't try competitive at the moment, then.
I haven't played it.
I've not tried ranked either. But even just sometimes the other night we was playing me, you, and Jack Andy in the casual, whatever they call it. Gears of War call it social mode, but the anyone can play one.
Yeah.
And it felt like the 5 matches in a row at least was come up against teams that were trying very hard, which is fine, but it's just less enjoyable. And it's much of a better game when it's free flowing, people making mistakes. I get
Yeah.
it. People
Yeah.
want to be good at games, and if we want to be good at games, and people probably thought when we won 4-0, people probably looked at us and went, "God, they're trying a bit hard." It's like, I get
Yeah,
it, but yeah, I completely agree. If they can stop it getting to Rocket League's level, where I don't think I'll ever play
Yeah.
Rocket League again because you go on it and people are flying fat everywhere. I'm like, nah, that's not
yeah,
for me.
sadly.
I got so good at Rocket League. I miss those days when I used to just make like loads of people cry just because you
I was probably
study
one
it,
of
so
them,
you
Stephen.
yeah. The mechanics of it, I was super nerdy at one point. I literally that's all I played, and I like him rematch that people are scoring goals that I don't even know how that's possible. But I've only played an hour, so I'm still like very very new to this world.
Yeah, you'll probably see me and Welchy do quite a different things when we
Yeah, and I'll be
play.
like,
You'll be like, what button did you press to do that?
yeah,
But,
I
yeah,
keep looking on the pause menu of the controls, and they're still not really helping me because I'm trying stuff, but my character's not doing it. And you got flipping Ronaldinho scoring a bicycle kick from the other side of the bloody pitch. It's like, but it's already. I think after like 2 or 3 games, I was like, I want to play more of this.
Mm.
Like I can
it's
see
very
it
addictive.
stopping you from going to bed. And Rocket
Oh,
League
it
has
did.
that.
It has the
It
Rocket
did last
League
night.
catch.
Yeah.
Me and Welch were on last night until like what 20 to 1. We jumped
Yeah.
off our podcast like let's play a few matches on rematch.
It's
All of a sudden
never,
it's close
it's
to 1
never
o'clock.
just a few match. Yeah.
It's just a fun game, even when you're goalkeeper. Like this is
Mhm.
one game that makes playing goalkeeper super fun.
Yeah, I agree.
And
Yeah.
and even when you mess up, it's like it's funny
Yeah.
moments. Like
That's what I
it's
mean. It
like
needs to keep that side of it. If it gets
Yeah.
too serious and
yeah,
too
yeah,
competitive, for me,
Yeah.
fine. If people want to go pro with it, fine. I think that's a good thing for the game. But it needs to
yeah,
keep
yeah.
its unseriousness as well.
The funniest one is when you dive the wrong way.
Yes.
Like, and I've done it
Oh,
at least 4 times, and I still don't quite know how I've done
The
that.
best one's when you
Uh,
dive forward. So there's been a few clips of me and Andy doing that.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to give it to Split Fiction. Sorry, Astrobot though. You can tell how close it was because it's basically both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next,
Again, end of the year awards. Split Fiction will probably make an appearance for
it will
you.
be up there high. But obviously a lot of good games to come out, and that's where I want to move to.
Yeah.
Next question or award, sorry. Most anticipated game. And let's do a year from now. Although
What's the
I
date?
think we all know what that's going to be.
Oh,
Then.
GTA
I know.
then.
Yeah. Bloody hell. A year from now, it's going to be GTA 6.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
got to be,
everyone's? Yeah.
obviously. Yeah, it has to
Okay.
be. There's
Let's
can't put anything in
let's give GTA
comparison
6
to it,
that
can you?
award. The most anticipated game, not including GTA 6. Let's make it more fun.
Go see Yote.
Ooh.
Go COT for you.
Yeah, it's got to be. I'm so excited for that game, man. There's nothing else.
See,
Like, obviously, I know Mafia's coming out and Gears of War, but yeah, Go see Yote is the next sort of sequel game I'm looking forward to.
It also comes down to games we know are going to release because if,
yeah.
for example, Invincible released in January, that's my number one.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we don't know when that's
Oh,
coming.
yeah. We
So
don't know. Yeah.
I would
Obviously,
probably
you guys
go.
you got things like Resident Evil and Silent Hill coming out as well. So I don't know how highly you'd put those games. You
I
forgot
would.
about those, did you?
No, but you know, for me, like Ghost of Yota is really high, but in my head, I'm thinking I keep watching that Resident Evil 9 trailer, and it looks insane. That other horror game, which I know it's
Hill
really
as well. I
bad,
don't know when that comes out.
Ill looks absolutely wild.
What is the release date on it? Or has that not got one yet?
No.
I think it's
Okay,
just
so you
20.
can't use that then.
Yeah,
No.
it might be 26, but not a date.
And I believe it's just a rumor that Resident Evil 9 might be February, March
I thought I had
time.
a date.
It's got a
Yeah.
date, yeah. It's
Has
yeah,
it?
it's definitely got a date. It's February.
I
Yeah.
think it's February.
Yeah, I thought it was February. Yeah. It's a great game to play on Valentine's Day if it's around that time. What could be more in celebrating love than going into the wonderful world of Resident Evil?
27th February, so literally
27th February.
the second last day of February.
Be funny if it's the 29th and it's like a leap
The
year.
trick, yeah.
Yeah. As much as I'm super excited for Ghost of Yotei, I think I'm actually going to lean more towards Resident Evil 9. Just so I'm not copying as well Andy's answer as well. Like, I think Resident Evil 9, there's just something about it that just I think it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
I think a lot of horror fans would choose that.
It's tough.
It makes it tricky for you guys.
I am more Resident Evil than Silent Hill, so I'm going to pick that over Silent Hill. Although I'm looking forward to that as well. for games that we know are coming, it's got to be between Yotei and Resident Evil 9. If you can then include games that might come, it's Invincible, the Marvel fighting game.
The James Bond game as well, because we don't. Although that's going to be more.
Yeah, we don't have a date for that, do we?
Like, no, we don't have a date for that.
Yeah, again, that's not reaching the level of Yotei for me because it's. I foreigner they're gonna fuck it up, but
Okay,
they might. I don't know. Because Indiana Jones was a good game, but it's nowhere near the level of Yotei, and I can see it being that kind of level for me, like the Indiana Jones level, which is I would take as a good game.
Yeah,
but it's not reaching those heights. I'm gonna go with. I'm trying to think of putting myself in the shoes the day before release. What am I like buzzing for? Probably Yotei. I'm gonna go Yotei. Although I think I started playing Tsushima a few months ago when I did have a period of time without any new releases, and it's harder to go back to than I thought it would be. If that makes sense. And I don't know. I feel like Spider-Man, I can go back and just love it instantly because I love the mechanics of that game. Last of Us, I can go back to instantly.
Last of Us, God of War, those type of games.
Tsushima, I just felt a little bit slower getting it back into it. So I don't know if it just hasn't aged well, which is funny to say in just 5 years. I don't think it's that. I think it's
maybe it's the pace of the game is.
Yes, I think
the
first
slower.
experience is amazing. Then going back, I haven't had quite the same experience, but I'm hoping Yotei will refresh that and I'll be brand new story, brand new mechanics. I'm sure we've got the wolf that she seems to have on her side. Actually, that state of play is happening soon, isn't it? A couple of weeks.
It's not far away now. I think it's aged well because obviously I only completed it last year and I loved every moment of it. So I don't think it's
probably more of a
outdated itself.
One of those games where the first time you play it's whoa, it's incredible, but then you go back a few years later and you're like, oh, it's a bit slow to start. When are we going to get to the good bits?
The pace of the game is slow. It takes its time to get in, but because of how visually stunning it is and just how great and immersive that story is, you only get that once. Where second time would be, if I went back to it, it wouldn't be to redo the main story. It would be to do all the extra bits that I want to do to again get a further insight into the story. And I feel like, don't get me wrong, Ghost of Yotei and Resident Evil 9 are like they're very much on a par with each other. But just because of my love of horror, I will give the edge to Resident Evil 9. But the other game that I will have a little honorable mention to is I am really excited for Terrifier, the arcade game, which launched in October, I should say. Yeah. Especially after playing the demo. I don't think that's going to be perfect, but it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And also Black Ops 7, which I think the story of that is going to be amazing.
That's a good show actually, because the campaign of Black Ops 6 was very, very good. And obviously I enjoyed the multiplayer for the first few months. I'd always fall off them, so I'm not going to blame.
And then it's been a direct sequel to Black Ops 2, which is another amazing campaign. You know,
that means nothing much less to me because I don't remember it. But I'm excited for the people that are excited about that kind of side of it.
Yeah, come on, that.
It feels strange to me that I'm more excited for Call of Duty for the actual campaign this year than actual multiplayer. Because last few years multiplayer I haven't sort of been keen on it. Obviously, I did play Black Ops 6 quite a bit. But yeah, the campaign is what I'm looking forward to most this year when that releases. So that'll be the main reason that I'm still getting COD, which is crazy.
I never thought I'd ever hear you say those words, Andy. I'm so proud of you.
So we want to try and keep this to another half an hour. So I'm going to stop one of the awards and just move on to the last award, which is our favorite episode that we've done on this podcast. So if you two haven't thought about it, I'll give you a couple of minutes to think about it.
I've got a couple ideas.
Obviously, for me, the quiz shows come to mind, but I wouldn't be able to pick a certain one. I personally am going to go with our Game of the Year one because
that's one of the ones in my head.
I just loved that. I loved organising it before it because obviously you all sending me your top 10s. They were changing. Andy was like playing games at the time and was like, actually, I'm not going to move that one. And then find out what the results was and keeping it from you so you would be surprised. Which I think is going to be even better this year in video format. Other ones I'd say is I like our prediction episodes of
that's what I was going to say.
And our picking games for the games we're doing. So like the Metacritic predictions, but also Fantasy Critic. Like I love stuff like that. But obviously, we enjoyed doing it, but it's more like looking ahead to the future. Whereas I think Game of the Year I'm going to pick because it was like a celebration of last year. And
Yeah.
what one Game of the Year? Was it Astrobot in the end, or?
Yeah, it was Astrobot because we both picked Astrobot as our number one.
Yes, that's right, isn't it?
There's,
Mm.
yeah, I remember it being close to something though. I
I've got
don't
it here.
think it
I'll
was
have a
like
look. But what are you
there's
going to go with?
mine
I've
probably
got it.
would yeah, mine probably would be Game of the Years as well. It was between that and like you say the prediction episodes because I really enjoyed doing on both the movie and the gaming side, like the Rotten Tomatoes game and obviously the Metacritic and then the Fantasy League. Sort of just choosing it's that initial excitement of like it's the start of the year. We don't know how these games are going to go. We're making our predictions on which games we think are going to be good and then actually getting around to playing them. And obviously we're still waiting for some of them on those prediction episodes. But yeah, just that initial excitement. I, I'm going to go for one of the prediction ones actually. I'm going to go for the Fantasy League one because
Yeah.
I obviously just recently added a game to that as well. It's quite cool sort of seeing how then the games do. Does it live up to the expectation that we initially had, or like the hype that the buzz that was around it at the time? And yeah, it's just really fun to do. And obviously, I can be a bit competitive as well with those things. So it is nice seeing how it goes, and then also sort of improving on that for next year. I think you're going to run away with the Fantasy League one this year, Welchy, just because I feel you've got a bit more knowledge and sort of sense about the smaller games. So things like Expedition 33, sort of games like that, I wouldn't have sort of thought about at all. And then you just sort of randomly say it, and I'm like, what the hell is this game? And then next week it launches and it gets 92 score, and I'm like, okay, fucking hell. So it's sort of just learning as well from these sort of videos, episodes that we do for next year. But yeah, it's just an exciting video to do when we're talking about the future of gaming and stuff, and sort of seeing where it goes.
Do you not think I could potentially win this year?
Stephen, you got no chance on either side.
No.
You really screwed yourself because
I did.
if you would have saved it, you could have sold GTA, not sold it, but got rid of it and swapped it for something, I don't know, Pokemon
Yeah.
At least
11
something
ZA or
coming out.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least I know for next year to
Yeah.
not like bid your whole budget. So that's on me. I literally shot myself in the foot with that, but I will be bigger and better next year.
Yeah,
I'm the underdog this year. Next year I'll be champion.
the fun thing about those episodes as well is it's sort of strategy. So knowing that obviously Lewis is more Nintendo, where although I know a bit about Nintendo, you don't, Steven. So it's sort of thinking, okay, I know Steven might not pick that game.
Yeah.
Welchy probably will, but where will he have it in his list? Will I have time to pick it at this time, or will he choose it before then? It's like on the movie side with Sinners. Obviously, I've got in there first and got Sinners. I know Welchy wanted it, but I made that my first picks and sort of predicted it was going to do quite well. But yeah, it's the same on the gaming side, trying to think, will this game do well? Will either you two potentially pick it? Where will it fall on your list? So yeah, it's just fun thinking about those episodes and sort of making your choices.
I think for next year as well, I'm actually going to be open-minded about like the Nintendo games because it does give you an advantage. I've made a mistake where I just focused on games that I wanted, like on PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah.
I didn't take into consideration any of the Nintendo stuff, so that's a real lesson. I've got something in my mind actually. I think my favourite episode, I'm trying to work out which one, but I love when we gave like our top 10 games from the 2000s.
They're good episodes. Yeah.
But I can't work out which is my favourite one because I was thinking about like 2000 and probably the 2005 to 10 because that's when my love of campaigns began, and just the nostalgia of going back and thinking about all of the amazing PS2 games. And as I said, I've been a campaign gamer now for it'd be like 20 years this year really if you think about when I got my PS2. And it started from there. So I've got a lot of that to thank. Although I equally loved when we spoke, I want to say 2010 to 2014, because that was like the peak of sort of, well, you could argue people's peaks, but that was like me in secondary school, all my friends on the Xbox, like every day, all day, every day was just playing video games, which I play a lot now. Yeah, but I have other responsibilities now. I can't just as much as I would love to sit and play video games all day, every day. I don't think Chloe would approve of that. I'm lucky that she lets me play as much as I do now, truth be told. But yeah, I probably will go with I'll stick with the 2005-10, just because I love the nostalgia. And then like the research when I was going through typing in what games came out that year, and then there'd be ones that like you both would say, and I would go, "Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot about that," and vice versa. They were very interesting conversations.
I think another episode to mention would be the Split Fiction review episode that we done in Welchy, because obviously we had so much fun playing that game and being able to talk about it. We was just like, well, I think that's the happiest and most positive I've seen us both on a game, and to then talk about that in the podcast was such a good feeling. And just hoping that we hopefully persuade other people to play as well, because everyone needs to play this game.
You both withdrew your thoughts about that, so I was going into it blind. I was thinking that you're going to enjoy it, but like I made a habit of not watching that stream because I didn't want to know what you were thinking.
Spoiled.
Yeah, exactly. And so there was two factors behind that, and I was quite taken back by not just you talk about it, but you are right. It is the most positive I've seen both you speak about a game, and with good reason. And I came away thinking, I actually wanted to play it sort of the next day, but I was like, I'm still playing Horizon, I can't. But yeah, so I would say that was a good one.
Yeah, the other thing, obviously, we had Biggs as well doing the stats for us, so that added another element of sort of fun to the episode. So sort of going over those, not knowing who had done what, it was that was entertaining for both of us.
I don't know about you, but I think the podcast works at its best when you can see how passionate we are talking about whatever game we're playing, and you can really tell from our voices and what we're saying that we're in love with the game in question.
I think it works the other way as well, though. I think I'm guessing though, because we've got a lot of listens, but on the Lost Records ones, we're passionate in the other way because we wanted the games to be good. I never want a game to be bad. I never go into something thinking, "Oh, this is bad." Obviously.
Yeah,
you wouldn't play otherwise.
Same with Fun Confusion as well. It works in two ways.
You're there thinking you had something here, like there was potential. The reason I'm playing this game is
because
there was
a lot
potential
of potential
here, and you've it sounds bad, but you've let us down a bit. So, and then you speak passionately in a different sense. I feel better talking about Split Fiction, and you're right, Andy. It was like it's like when I did the Astrobot one I was doing myself, but I remember just speaking about it, thinking I'm just spitting joy, like joy's just coming out of my mouth constantly. It's just a much better feeling than talking about something you don't like.
Yeah. I wish I was there for Astrobot. I wish I was there for Astrobot.
We would have had the same thing. We'd been like, oh, this level on this bit.
Yeah.
Cool. That's going to be it for the awards. We could have done one or two more, but obviously we want to keep this podcast relatively short, or normal length. I went online and I was looking for, basically, it was going to be 52 questions, one for each week of the podcast, roughly.
Okay.
And
very smart.
there wasn't many out there, which was just 52. And I was struggling to find a good one. I was looking for like a quiz or something that we could all do and like try and like collectively work as a team to get 50 out of 50 or whatever. And then stumbled upon this on Reddit where someone had made a selection of 50 questions, which we're not going to do all 50 because some of them. So one of them here we'll get to is, what's a popular game that everyone loves but you don't like? And then the next question is, what's a game you didn't expect to enjoy but ended up liking? So what's a game you thought you'd like but actually hated? It's like, well, that's the same question. I just worded differently. So I was like, we're going to skip a few of these. And then there's some which are like specific. So I can't remember where it was, but it was like, in an RPG, would you pick a mage or so? And I was like, we'll skip those kind of ones. But they're all more about our personal taste in games. So it's kind of a good way for maybe new people to listen or watch and get to know our taste in games, but also people have been listening to for a while to get more in depth. Because obviously, people are starting to get an idea of what our favorite games are and our kind of games, but this should give a bit more context for everyone. So it's quickfire, as quick as you can anyway. Obviously, if it takes you 10 seconds to think, don't worry about it. But and it starts off with, and I don't know how many exactly this is going to be, obviously, because we're cutting some of them out, but roughly 30, I imagine. Start off with the big one. What's your favorite game of all time? Let's start with Stephen.
Oh,
quickfire, go.
Quickfire questions.
Peter Jackson's King Kong, Fish Game the movie.
I like it because you're consistent. That's what you said in the first episode of the podcast. And
oh god, I don't bloody know. I've only just started playing a lot of campaign games recently, but you know what? Because it's fresh in our minds and we loved it, and it was a new take on mechanics. I'm going to say Split Fiction.
You just said God of War was your favorite.
Yeah, no,
Whatever.
but I said I wanted to say that for the Game Awards,
Okay.
so I am being a bit.
But you do realise you just
No.
said that that's your favourite video game of all time.
Yeah, no, it's quickfire.
Okay.
It's,
I'm
it is a
sure.
very good game. I
Okay.
wouldn't doubt you for
Yeah.
saying it.
No, fair enough.
Mine is a collection of God of War and God of War Ragnarok. I consider it as one. I can't pick between them.
No.
Okay, then let's go to the next one. Question 2. What's a game you thought you'd like, but actually hated?
That's easy. Lost Records.
Lost Records for Andy. Fun Confusion for Stephen.
Yeah, Funko Fusion.
I'm going to mix this up because this can be like any time. Obviously, it's not based on just your podcast experience.
Yeah.
The Witcher 3. I
Oh
did not
man, Witcher
enjoy
3
that
was
game
great.
at all. I know most people love that game, and I bought it on launch day and just didn't get on with it at all. And
Yeah.
whenever I watch videos of like people's favorite games of all time, I'm like, oh, here we go. Here's the Witcher 3 bit. Everyone always talks about it so highly, but for me, it just wasn't it.
Can I
think you
actually
have to replay it.
add a very quick one because I can use it different because I already spoke about why I didn't like Funko Fusion. Gotham Knights is another one
Ooh.
because I loved the Batman Arkham series. That was next gen. I had the collector's edition. So excited to play it, and like I completed it, but the game was poor. It was badly made. It didn't feel like the Arkham games, and it was a real letdown.
I purposely didn't get that game because I saw it coming. I could see that people getting excited, and I was like,
Yeah.
everything I was watching, I was like, nothing's screaming like
The
good to me, and obviously it turned out
the
to be
only
bang
good
average.
moment is there's a moment where Harley has to break out of the prison and it plays to Live in a Vida Loca in like a rock style, and that's a really cool sequence.
Yeah.
But that is the only part of the game that is actually enjoyable.
Next one. What's a game you didn't expect to like, but ended up liking?
Oh, that's a hard one.
That one's tricky for me because
You don't really play things
mostly
you don't expect to like. That's the big thing.
yeah.
Oh, no, I've got one.
Go on.
I'm going to go with Stray. Only because when I bought it, it didn't feel like it was going to be a game for me.
You
But
bought
I
it.
loved it. Yeah, I
It was
bought
free on
Stray.
PlayStation Plus. Oh, you might not have had it at the
I
time.
got it. No, I got it on the disc edition as well,
Oh,
so I
fine,
went.
yeah,
I bought it. Yeah. But like, it's only 6 hours, but it was
Yeah.
a lot of fun. I actually wanted that game to be longer. I don't know why in my head why I thought it wasn't going to be something for me, but yeah, thoroughly surprised. Really enjoyable game.
Do you want me to go next, Andy?
Go on.
You got one, Andy? Go on him.
Yeah. I can't. The Tales game that I played.
Oh, Tales of
Last year?
Kanzerazawa.
Yeah, just because obviously at that time I was playing a lot of different campaign games. I went into that one. It was completely different to. It was a sort of side scroller game, so it was completely different to what I had been playing. I wasn't sure what to expect of it, and I went in completely unknown on whether I was going to like it or not. And by the end of it, yeah, I loved it and would recommend that game to anyone. So yeah, that's my choice.
Good choice. I was between two. My runner-up would be Balatro because I just didn't think I'd love a card game like I do. But my winner is going to be Vampire Survivors, which is I've been playing recently Gunbot Diplomacy, which I said is very similar to Vampire Survivors. Vampire Survivors, when you watch a video of it, looks terrible. You don't know what's going
Yeah.
on. It's just a lot of crap on the screen. It literally looks like shit on the screen, especially when you get to the later stages in that game. And I would watch it and think, what do people get out of this? Like, I just genuinely didn't get it. And then it come to Game Pass. Well, it might have always been on Game Pass, but I played it on Game Pass and I was like, I get it. This is so fucking good.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely giving it to that one. I won't go into the details of the game, but I would highly recommend trying that game if you can.
Yeah, I feel like there's quite a few games like that where if you're watching someone else play, even if it's something like Baldur's Gate 3 or something completely random to like that you don't usually play, you'd be watching thinking, what the fuck is this game? Or like, it looks so weird, it looks confusing, you think it looks poor, and then you're like, you know what, I'll try it one day. You put it in, you're like, this is amazing. Like, it's complete opposite of what you're seeing. So yeah, always play a game before you judge it.
Exactly. Unless it's Lost Records. Five, or not five for us, but five on here. What game have you spent the most number of hours on?
Destiny.
I was going to say
Easy.
it's quick for Andy. Stephen?
That is hard. I'm gonna say Fortnite.
Oh,
I imagine.
fair.
I imagine it's Fortnite. It might be one of the FIFA games, to be fair, but in terms of consistency, I'll say Fortnite.
FIFA games are like 1 year though, so like Fortnite you would have
Yeah.
played over like the last 5 years or so. So you
I
probably
think
have more hours on that.
I'm pretty sure like 500 hours on it. COD's not far behind, but COD merges into one, so that's not really a fair, accurate representation of the
'Cause they
PlayStation
don't
Store
update
because
it,
it's
do
all
they?
merged.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty confident it's going to be Fortnite actually.
I think my Destiny hours like close to 2,000 or
Your Destiny hours are over 1,000. It's wild. It might be approaching 2,000 hours.
great game.
Mine is, I'm going to say Gears of War 2. I haven't
Really?
got official numbers for that, but back when that game came out, I think I'd said this story before, I was in like the top 100 on the leaderboard at one point. And that was
Yeah,
basically, all we had to do was
Yeah,
play. You didn't have to actually be good. As long as you played enough, you'd get there. I
yeah.
mean, you still have to be relatively good to score points, obviously, but probably that, or probably Call of Duty 4. It'd be one of those
Ooh.
two, which would be my number one, because both of those games are the kind of games that I just spent all my time on.
Yeah.
I think my second closest game would be Modern Warfare 2 because I know I spent hours on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously without being able to go back and see the exact
Yeah,
hours,
you
I
can't
think
see.
on the leaderboards it was like it would be between like 50 to 70 days. I think on the leaderboards, but
Yeah.
I think Destiny has overtaken that.
I think Modern Warfare 3, which I got to Prestige 20, I was approaching sort of 50 hours on that alone, and that's before you do the campaign or the special ops, but I don't have those records
No.
like visible to me now. It's always going to be a multiplayer game, really, if you think about it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
or a sort of co-op game like a PvE game like with Destiny.
Yeah.
Or
you
Diablo
got all
and
the
stuff,
raids
yeah.
and Diablo, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a fun one. If you had to marry the last video game character you played, who would it be?
You play what? Who you played as?
Yes. So, Stephen, I'm guessing Aloy?
Yeah, be Aloy. That's not bad. I'll take that. I'll take
You've
marrying
done well.
Aloy. Yeah.
Well, technically,
It's
mine
rematch
would be
characters
my
don't count.
rematch
Yeah.
character.
You can't marry yourself.
Then it'd be Kratos, I guess.
You get battered, Andy, if you married Kratos.
Mine's not much better. Mine is Wario from Mario Kart. So.
Oh my god.
At least you'd be able to live in Mario's world. I mean, I'd take that.
I don't want to marry
Just
Wario.
jump on
though.
mushrooms. Oh, you know.
Wario's a big, bulky man.
I'm just saying, I'll be married to a god, so I think I win here.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll be married to a clone of Elizabeth Sobek, so I think if anyone's won that, it's going to be me.
I do think Stephen may have won that one.
Yeah.
Similar kind of question, and the answer will actually be the same here, but to do with the world. If you had to live in the world of the last game you played, what would it be? So.
Oh, I wouldn't be happy with that.
You're not winning this one,
no,
Stephen. I'm winning this one. I'm in the Mario world.
Yeah.
Well, Andy's pretty good though, because you're in God of War, but then you've got dragons and shit to deal with. So.
Yeah, I don't know where my world goes to at the moment.
True.
I'm still playing it. I don't know which state it's going to end up. But in terms of like looking at it and being able to travel to all these cool different realms and that, then yeah, I'm in a pretty good world.
I'm going to get ripped apart by the robots, man.
Yeah,
that's not fun.
Yeah, you're not in a good spot here, Steve.
I've got God to protect me, so that's fine. I got Kratos by my side.
I mean, that might be coming to your world, Andy.
Stephen would have Aloy to protect him, but I'd rather have Kratos.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I'll be hiding behind the back, mate.
Here we go. Now we're getting deep. Have you ever had a crush on a video game character?
Good. I know what Steven's going to say. Pretty Lara Croft from Tomb Raider. So.
What, the old triangle ones with the triangle boobs? I don't think I have. I mean, no, not a video game character. I don't think I ever have.
I think that one is easier for the movie side because I don't think I've had a. I don't think I have, but maybe when I was younger playing a certain game, you might have looked at a character and be like,
you know what?
Excited by her.
I'll chuck one out there. Chloe from Uncharted 2.
Oh, we're thinking that.
To be fair, yeah.
But I wouldn't say I was thinking, oh my god, I have a crush on you. It's more just like, it's probably the best one I can think of.
Yeah. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't class it as a crush.
I always sound really awful when I come up with these bloody answers to these questions.
Steven's got like
I-
20 things. Like 20
Let me get my list.
I do
Wait.
actually. No, I do remember when GTA 5 came out, and you got the menu of that blonde girl with the bikini. That was my
Steven
crush
loved
right there.
a cutscene.
I had
Like,
a,
no,
I
man,
had,
still
I had
picture.
her as a poster in my room in my wardrobe. I cut it out, or I got my sister to cut out it from. I can't remember exactly where I got it, and I stuck it on there. But she just had a lovely face, and she looked like she had a really nice personality. So that's
Yes,
why I had the
that's it.
crush.
It's all about personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, guys.
Let's take it back. What is the first game you ever remember playing?
Oh,
That's
that's
Sonic.
easy. Sonic
Sonic.
Advance.
Yeah.
It's mental to me.
You said this before. You
Yeah.
haven't played it, have you?
Mine, I think, is Pokemon Red. If not
Yeah.
Pokemon Red, then Super Mario Brothers. I don't know which one came first. But I'm in my own home, in my own console. I think it was Pokemon Red.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
great
good
games.
memories playing that. Okay, have you ever pretended to be sick to get out of something so you could play a game?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
School.
absolutely.
Have you? I think there's several times where I was like, didn't go into school because like either GTA or FIFA was something new was out and I wanted to play it.
Yeah.
So I remember
I-
several times pretending to be ill to my mum to do that.
With-
Hopefully she
with
doesn't
my-
listen to it.
I mean, with my big picture, I went one stage further where I was conveniently sick on every sports day, and that would just mean that I spend the day playing Modern Warfare. So yeah, we've all done it. Let's be honest. Now in the working world, you have what I call annual leave, which
Yeah.
because that doesn't cut any sort of mustard in the working world. But yeah, in school, absolutely.
I don't think
I
I
feel
did in
like it can
school.
be.
Really?
I definitely didn't go to certain lectures at uni, but not just for the
Yeah.
games,
Yeah.
more because I didn't want to go to that lecture.
And then ended up playing games.
I probably have cancelled like social things when we were younger. Like someone said, "Do you want to go on a night out?" And I'm like, I'm not feeling it because I want to play Gears of War or something. But
Yeah.
I can't think of a specific example. I was one of those kids at school that went every day, so I was a bit of a nerd like that. So
I think conveniently, I might have had a dentist appointment when Black Ops 2 came out. It was a bit of a big
man,
big
you was in
appointment that
school
was
then,
then
wasn't you? I was at
delayed.
uni, Black
Oh,
Ops 2, Jesus Christ.
I think if
That's
I remember
funny.
rightly, because it was the day after my birthday, so like we went for a Mackey's breakfast and then picked up the game,
You don't have Mackey's
played
breakfast
it,
a
and
day
then
with
went in the
dentist.
afternoon. Well, yeah, but still didn't know that.
I just had a flashback memory actually. I remember one night with family, we went to I think it was Lakeside. I can't obviously I was in secondary school. I can't remember how old I was. But we'd spent the day and sort of like afternoon, evening up at Lakeside and got home like really late. We didn't get home until like midnight. And because it was so late, my mum was like, "Oh, you have the next day of school." I was like, well, "Sweet." And then just remember playing games. So I love that.
Even now though, like how you remember how hot it was on Saturday, and my mate texted me saying, "Oh, like come out to the pub garden, let's have a couple of drinks." And I literally was like, "No, I want to play Horizon." In the end, I did go to the pub garden for like a few hours, but then in the evening I played Horizon. He was like, "You've changed. You're turning down beer to play a video game. What are you doing with your life?" So even now, there comes those moments like, "I just want a game. Just leave me at peace, please."
I'd also argue it was too hot this weekend as well. I
It was.
actually tried to not go outside, but these should be some more quickfire ones. What game did you last complete? Horizon 2 for
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Horizon 2 for the West.
Andy?
Yeah, Spider-Man was obviously the last game for God of War. Pretty sure. Yeah. So
I think mine is Doom the Dark Ages because I think everything's been multiplayer since then.
Mine was really fresh. It was 24 hours ago that I completed Horizon, pretty much. It was yesterday.
What game are you playing right now? I guess technically rematch for all of us?
technically rematch, but campaign-wise, obviously God of War Ragnarok is the one I'm working on.
I'll be going back to Anthem 4 on Wednesday.
Well, the next question, what game do you want to play next?
Oh, Anthem 4 I'll be playing on Wednesday.
So, Andy, for you, it's after Ragnarok.
After, depending on timing, potentially it'll be Mafia. But if I've got space in between then, I've got Blueprints downloaded. I want to give that a go.
Oh, yeah, I've got that downloaded.
Okay.
Mine is, I want to go back to Claire Expedition because everything I'm hearing about it is it's one of the best games ever. So I just want to get that done for Game of the Year. But again, timing wise, actually, my next game will be Donkey Kong Bonanza. In terms of
I'm excited to see how that does.
one that I beat. So
Yeah.
I'll also throw in, because I think I'm 4 hours away from Titanfall's end. It will then probably be going back and revisiting GTA San Andreas for a bit before Mafia, most likely.
We're running out of time, so let's really try and get through as many as we can. We won't go through all of them, obviously. Just quick fire. In your opinion, what is the best games console?
Oh, PS5.
As in ever?
The PS2's.
Yeah, I was thinking PS2 just because of how good that was at the time. Obviously, like PS5's a lot more powerful and graphics
Yeah.
are like crazy.
PS5
But
is the best working console, yeah. So
like if we're speaking for the moment, I think like PS2, if that makes sense.
For its time, yes.
Yeah.
I am going to pick the PS4. I think the
Or
PS4 is a
there's so many.
better
You
era
could
at the
choose any
moment.
console, really,
Yeah.
couldn't you?
yeah, I'll
Xbox
stick
360 is
PS5.
close.
Yeah, that isn't far behind.
We'll skip that one. We'll skip that one. We'll skip that one. Okay. What's the best weapon you've ever used in a game? I'll just go and give you time to think, because I've got one straight away.
I think
I'm
I'll go on.
going to say the Leviathan axe from God of War.
Oh, see, mine's the Blades of Chaos from God of War,
That's
because
fair.
like when you get those, like
That's fair, but the feel of that axe when you're hitting people and throwing it and calling it back just feels perfect.
yeah. Potentially, there's probably a few weapons from Destiny that I choose as well. The one that stands out the most to me that I enjoyed using was the Queen Breaker's bow. That was such a fun gun to use. It was like a sniper, but yeah, it was just a fun weapon.
Stephen?
I'd go probably the ray gun from
Ooh.
Black Ops Zombies,
That's
because
good,
when
yeah.
you got that, you felt invincible with that.
Next one. Have you ever had to stop playing a game because it was too scary?
We know one person's answer to that.
I haven't. I don't even start them though, so it's like I have
okay.
started playing a game and then stopped because it's scary. I just haven't played them yet. So
for me, I took a long break from Outlast.
Oh.
Outlast got me good. Like I was like you said, Andy, when we were playing Last of Us, you don't really want to play it.
Yeah.
With Outlast, I was like, I'm not ready. Like I'm dreading the next moment, and the thought of turning it on and playing it is scaring me.
It makes it a lot harder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I really sick and twisted that the answer to that question is absolutely not? If anything, I want it more disturbed and messed up.
You're the horror expert. Obviously, we'll expect
That's
that.
true.
Outlast and Outlast 2 are some of the most terrifying games, and Alien Isolation, I'd add to that. But
the other thing, the ending of Dead Space, that did get me.
Yeah, but at that point, you're not going to stop
me.
the game, are you? Because it's the end. So
No, but in terms of like playing on my mind,
Yes,
that
yeah.
absolutely did. That was nerve-inducing terror.
Has a game ever made you cry?
Oh, I feel like the answer to that is yes, but
Yeah,
I think it's only
Yeah.
happened once, and it was like, I'm not saying I'm bawling my eyes out, but you know, like the old one, teardrop coming down.
Yeah.
Mine's Gears of War 3. I won't say what it was for anyone who doesn't want it spoiled.
Yeah, I know exactly what bit you mean.
Red
I
Dead
feel like
Redemption
I
2.
have, but I
Oh,
can't
Red Dead 2 is
exact
a
moment.
great shout. Didn't make me cry, but
And-
I would
End
understand
of
why
Red Dead
you
2,
would.
I shed a tear. What I will say is when I do my Lost Records games in January,
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
that's gonna rip me to pieces, because it's gonna touch nerves that I don't
Life
want
is
to have.
Strange.
Oh, Life is Strange,
very
not Lost
emotional.
Records.
Oh,
No,
sorry, not
Lost
Lost Records. Yeah, I meant to say Life is Strange. Sorry.
I was going to say, if Lost Records makes you cry because of how shit it is.
Yeah. No, the original trilogy of Life is Strange. I've got to prepare
Yes, I've
myself
heard
for
that as well,
what
yeah.
is going to be hitting me. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your favourite video game genre? Is yours horror, Stephen? It's probably your favourite movie genre, but is it your favourite game? Andy, have you got?
I'll just say, I'll let Andy answer.
I think obviously like shooters with multiplayers and stuff, but then also like the games like Witcher, Blood Souls,
Bloodborne, Dark
what's it
Souls.
called? Bloodborne. Bloody hell. I couldn't think what it was called then. Bloodborne and Dark Souls games like RPGs. Yeah, those sort of games are probably like my go-to. Skyrim, great example, one of my favorite games.
I think it's like horror, yes, but more so like it's not really a genre. Story based campaigns, like Last of Us, Uncharted. I know that they fall into different categories, but anything that is story focused as a campaign.
Yeah, that's going
But
to be
I
mine
feel like
as
that's
well.
a cop out.
I'm going to say third-person action games.
Yeah, I'll agree. So, yeah, something like that. But then, like the Telltale games or any game like that that has got that story is at the heart of it.
Yeah,
Sometimes the story is more important than the actual gameplay mechanics. But horror just sneaks under that.
yeah, yeah. I'd say horror's pretty high up for me actually. Um, Here's one. I know Andy's answer. Do you prefer multiplayer or single player?
Well, it might be a bit harder to answer that these days, but
In general, it's multiplayer, right?
obviously, overall multiplayer, yeah. Like
Stephen?
it's like with rematch. Obviously, as soon as
Single
there's something
player.
fresh that comes out, I'm like, yeah, it's got me. And then
See,
it's harder to get back into those single player games. But
I would say, even though I prefer single player, I would say that in terms of my time, I'm 50-50.
Yeah,
But I just prefer single player more.
I'm single player. Although some of my favorite gaming experiences are co-op or and
yeah,
recently in rematch, but
Yeah,
I also get so much anger and frustration from online multiplayer,
yeah,
so I will go single player, but I do love multiplayer as well.
I
yeah.
have
I
mates
think
at
that'd
school
be
that never.
an interesting question to ask me again in like a few years' time to see.
If it's completely changed.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
I
was
mean,
flipped around.
my mates at school actually ridiculed me for playing single player campaigns. It's just still blows my mind how people have not played loads of the great games that they're to on offer.
Here's a good one, which you'll be able to change your answer next week. What is the longest amount of time you've sat playing games non-stop? Well, actually, Andy, you have done it before,
Um,
but
yeah, I've done it before.
Stephen, you haven't. So, what's your answer? Me and Andy is 24
uh,
hours
I've gained to like 5 in the morning for my longest,
from when
and
though.
I've
Like,
When
started
did
at
it
like
start though?
4:59. No,
Started at 3:40.
no, I feel like from 7 p.m.
that's a fair chunk.
So
9 hours is that? Is that
yeah,
good
something
maths?
like that.
Nine,
Is
ten
it
hours.
9 hours?
Um,
Yeah,
9 10 hours? But I
nice.
remember like gaming as the sunrise, and I then went to bed.
yeah.
That's the longest.
Those are amateur numbers. I remember getting
Yeah,
home
all right.
before
Well,
like
on Friday we're about to do 24 hours. Thank you very much.
get home at like 3 o'clock, put my console on, and be going until like 3, 4 a.m. in the morning. That was just like
Oh,
That
right.
was the standard gaming night.
No, mine's 24 hours when I did my Gears of War 4 stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, these are too tough. Let's see. We're kind of doing this next week about video game characters. But if you could be a video game character, who would you want to be?
See, that one's a tricky one because like
That's a great question.
Doesn't mean you like them,
you
but you
might
might want to
like,
be them.
for example, but are you them in their world? Because like, for example, if I chose Kratos,
Mm.
you're then in that world where you're in a lot of danger.
But
But can I be
also,
Kratos
Kratos is
in
a
our world?
miserable fuck, really, when you think about
Well, yeah,
it.
that's just an example. But like have his power, for example. If you're then Kratos in our world, it's like, yeah, I'm in charge now, guys.
I think
But yeah,
for me, Nathan Drake's always a good one. Good looking man, good with the ladies,
yeah.
but
But
he
again, he's always in
obviously
danger.
is
Like
always in danger.
how realistic? Yeah, depends how like realistic you're being with it. Like,
Yeah.
are you always going to be in those situations where you could die any moment? Um,
But then there's no one to
yeah.
pick because most games are.
No, that's like I don't know. I've always sort of answered that. I think I've answered that question before, and it was like the character from Fable because you're like in this magical like kingdom world, and it's like more realistic anyway. But again, yeah, I guess any game you're sort of in danger, and I guess you could sort of tie on that as well.
I was going to say like Astro, but that's a really stupid thing. Imagine like turning into a little Astrobot. Um, I was also thinking like Joel for The Last of Us, but then it don't end well for him, so I'm not quite
You
sure
want
if
to
I
be in
want.
a
Uh,
in that world as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
Sure.
probably not. I'm actually going to go with a bit of a unique one. I'm going to go with Michael from GTA 5, only because I loved his house, and
That's fair.
even though he had an awful wife and like really like bad kids that I just wanted to slap around the face, by the end of the game, it rights his wrong, and like he's still a bit of a badass. So yeah, I'd love to be living in the high life in Los Santos.
They've actually got on here. What are you hoping for at the next E3? Which is this must be an old thing.
Oh,
Well,
blimey.
We're running out here, so we've done a good chunk of them. I've skipped a lot, but they're not always actually the best questions. Are there any games you're very bad at, Andy?
I laugh. Steven's pretty got love.
Shut up. This whole thing about skill issue compared to you, Andy. I'm trying to think of like one that I'm really, really bad
I'm
at.
gonna chuck
Oh,
out
just
Rocket League for me. Like I just don't get that game. Like I was able to do the basics, but anything past basic, I was just nowhere near the level.
Yeah,
I'm
I'd
gonna,
probably agree with that with Rocket League because like I might have been good at it at the time, but once it's got to that next level where people start doing all those moves in the air and stuff, like
Yeah.
I couldn't be asked to keep up with that. It's the same with Fortnite, the high level that got with the building and stuff. It's like
Ah,
I could jump on and be good at Fortnite, or like on the OG mode and stuff. But if you jump on and play against all those PC and pro players who take the whole building thing to a whole new level, it's like, yeah, different skill set.
it, it's so weird how like the game that I'm actually really good at is the game that both of you have used as
mhm.
answer. Like even when Rocket League came to PS5, I picked up and was still really good at it. I'm gonna be quite specific. I'm gonna go with defending on FIFA. I've never ever been good at defending. Like it's a very specific area, so I can score lots of goals. I just can't defend. And that's been like that since sort of FIFA 11. Um, I go through a stage where I've got to really practice to get decent at a game. Um, but if it's a game that I don't like, then I'll just put it aside. But FIFA, I've played every single one, and I've never seemed to improve with defensive abilities. So I will go with that.
Fair enough. I think we'll leave it there. There was a lot on there which were like almost repeating again. It's like, who would you want to marry? Which I know our one was who was our last game, but we don't need to do that kind of question. Um, Obviously, it goes without saying this isn't our usual format. For anyone listening who may be new, normally we have our little introduction. We have a trivia question each week, unless there's a quiz show. We then go into topic of the week, which changes each week, which will be um, anything from our favorite games from certain decades, a review topic, a prediction episode, anything. Like next week, we're doing favorite video game characters. It could be anything, whatever's topical at the moment, or if there's nothing that's topical, just something we want to talk about. And then we'll normally go into what we've been playing. We're going to skip what we've been playing this week because we're at the 1.5 hour mark, just over. So we'll do that next week, where Stephen will talk about Horizon 2, and we'll all talk about Rematch and your 24-hour
Yeah.
stream actually as well. We'll probably spend a bit of time talking about that.
Yeah.
Just quickly before we go, I do want to just go through what's next for the podcast. So big plans for lots of different things. I guess the first thing to mention is GTA 6. A lot of big plans. I've already put it in a schedule. I'm not going to go through all the plans, but we've got 5 or 6 episodes around that date of where we'll be doing GTA 6 related content. It's obviously the biggest game in the last almost 12 years, is it, since GTA 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's 8 years since GTA Red Dead 2. So no, 7 years, whatever. It'll be 8 years by next year. So lots of plans around that in terms of podcast content, but also obviously Twitch, YouTube, everywhere. Videos to remain. This is our first one, and it's going to go, hopefully if this works well, touching wood it will, it'll be in every episode from now on, and the movies will also turn into video content as well. I have a personal aim is to interview at least one developer at some point in the next 12 months. I hope that will come to fruition. I'm putting it out there as a target, which hopefully we'll be able to achieve. More involvement from the community. We've started to do it more recently with listener comments. We're normally going on Discord, asking people to comment about what we're about to talk about. So that's going to be more of a staple in the podcast. So we're going to have a new section called Late Night Messages, obviously to do with the Late Night Gamer podcast. Late Night Messages where it will be either things related to what we're talking about or just anything you want to talk about. So anything gaming related, you can message us on Discord, Instagram, wherever, and we're going to make a specific segment for your comments. What else have I got on here? And we're going to have new segments. So the trivia question that we normally do will stay, I think, but basically I'm going to introduce rotating segments, which I don't want to reveal right now, but we've got some fun ideas for almost like trivia, but different types of trivia that we can do each week, which would be interesting. So lots of new plans. And that does actually mean, I should mention as well, that the quiz shows that we do, we originally was trying to do it once a month. We're now going to push that further out. So they're a bit more spread out between them. So less regularly, but some of the stuff from those will appear in every episode. So some of the rotating segments will be taken from those quiz shows. So you still get that kind of content, just not one big quiz show each week or each month. In terms of lessons learned this year, we have learned about timing, which I'm trying to keep this down as quick as I can. So I'm trying to get through this as quick as I can. Timing, we've heard your feedback on Discord and everywhere. We're trying to keep them. An hour and a half is kind of our sweet spot. They tend to go just over. We're trying to be anywhere between an hour and a half and an hour and 45 is where we really want to be. And really trying to put a hard stop at 2 hours. Not just for everyone listening, but also for our sanity and health, because with the Late Night Gamer podcast, we do record these later at night and we need to sleep. So, and audio quality. Even literally yesterday, the audio quality wasn't up to my standards. It was my fault. My microphone was quieter than normal. We are aware that it hasn't always been perfect, but I'm working on it every week to try and improve it, and we're getting there. So I want to say thank you to everyone who supported us for the first year of the podcast. Whether you're only listened to a few, or if you listen to every single one, or if you commented on all of them, Bigsy, you know who you are. You've been commenting on every single thing. Thank you very much. But anyone else who's been commenting throughout, and Jack obviously need a shout out as well for joining the podcast, and obviously Andy and Stephen, thank you for being here most of the year, pretty much now, and joining me on this journey. Yeah, hopefully we'll be here next year celebrating 2 years, and we'll have even more exciting things to plan, but also discuss what's happened in the year, and hopefully we'll be playing GTA 6 at that point, because for all we know, it could be delayed again.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
I think we missed out one more award of best host, which goes to you, Welchy.
Thank you very much. I mean, I'm the only
your
host. But...
great hard work. Yeah, but just the hard work that you put into the podcast. I mean, me and Andy, all we do is just turn up and talk about video games, and you do all the hard work. So, you know, it doesn't go sort of unnoticed.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the next year.
It'd be fun to have a behind the scenes episode with the setup and stuff.
I don't think people will see that.
You never know. It'd be entertaining sometimes watching you.
It could be. But maybe if it's a special request, maybe when we hit 1,000 subscribers,
maybe there'll be an episode Netflix one day, a documentary in the Late Night Game.
Yeah.
Hopefully for the right reasons.
Yeah.
So, oh God, my notes were wrong. Sorry, but I'm just going to wing this bit at the end. Thank you to everyone again for the whole year, but also just for listening to this episode of the Late Night Gamer podcast. Before we go, Andy, do you want to let everyone know where they can follow you?
Yes, please. So you can find me over on Twitch at Andy_White_07. That's where I'll be doing my part of the 24-hour gaming charity stream that we're doing on the 27th of June at midday. And you can also find me over on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at either AB Collectibles or AB Collectibles 24, and trying to upload a video a day on TikTok and Instagram of sort of my Funko Pops that I collect and showing off those. So yeah, thank you very much.
And Stephen, where can everyone follow you?
Yeah, just on my TikTok at DJ Bagpuss. Stay tuned. Some more social media content regarding our stream is going to be coming your way. And on my YouTube at www.youtube.com/DJ Bagpuss, which I'll be doing my share of the 24-hour gaming stream on Friday from 12. So I look forward to seeing as many of you there.
Thanks again for tuning in to the Late Night Gamer podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, please give us a follow, leave a rating, and tell a friend about us, as word of mouth goes a very long way for us. You can follow us on all social media with the handle at the LNG Pod, and be sure to join our Discord community as well using the link in the podcast description. Next week, we're going to be discussing our favourite video game characters, so look forward to that one. Until then, I've been your host, Welchy, and my guests have been Andy.
Hey guys, been a pleasure as always, and yeah, can't wait to continue these video podcasts going forward.
And Stephen.
Yeah, been a pleasure as always, and looking forward to seeing what the next year unfolds on the LNG.
Thank you all for listening, and keep on gaming.